Today I'm installing all the plumbing for my full bath on the second floor. Alright guys, so last time we got all of the framing done up here on my second floor. We've got the whole bathroom here with a separate closet, and then we've got the walk-in closet all over here in this section. So today we're going to be focusing on the plumbing. And the way I like to work is to do all of the drains first and then the feed lines, because the drains are pretty set where they have to be and you've got to get everything sloped correctly. So, and then the feed lines are a lot more flexible. You can kind of run those where you want. So you want to get your drains in place first. So that's going to be over here. We've got 3 different drains to work out. We've got the toilet drain, which is going to be right in this area. So luckily when I built my house, I did tell the plumber that I was going to put a bathroom up here, so they already had everything kind of ready to go for me. So that's what you see right here. This is a 3-inch drain stack right there, and then they also have a capped off section right here for the vent. So that's exactly where I'm going to be plumbing in my toilet. I'll have a T going into there and then reconnect up to the vent, and then bring it right over to this area for the toilet flange. And then next we've got the shower drain. So this is where the shower drain needs to be, right in the center of my pan. And then that one I'm going to be bringing over and teeing into this 2-inch line. So I'm going to do a full 2-inch drain on the shower. That way I can get a little bit more length out of it, because you are allowed to have up to 8 feet of a basically a trap arm from the P-trap that's going to be sitting under here to the vent stack, which is there. And then similarly, I'm going to have my double sink vanity here. So basically in this area and this area, I'm going to have my drains come over and come back to the same stack right here, this 2-inch. And then I'm going to tie some venting up and around into this vent here. So then once I get all my drains figured out, I can change over to the feed lines. So the feeds are going to be coming up this wall in one of these pockets. I don't remember which one, but probably over here. Then I'll have to bring them over. I'm gonna have to feed obviously the shower, hot and cold. I'll bring hot and cold through this wall. Cold goes to the toilet right here, and then hot and cold to both of the sinks in the vanity. So that's the basic plumbing plan. Now we can get started. Alright guys, so I've got all the plumbing finished up, and I'll go through it quickly with you. So I started with the drains. So first up, I did the shower drain. So you can't see much right now because I do have the shower in place. But I basically lined up where exactly this had to be. So I brought the basin up, marked it, drilled a hole in the floor. And then I was able to do some pre-assembly with the long PVC pipe and the P-trap, so that what I did was I slid it in this way. That way I didn't have to cut up a bunch of my subfloor. So I could slide that in. So you can see that is this pipe here. So underneath, that's all 2-inch. So we got 2-inch, and then we got a 2-inch P-trap right here. And then we got a little section there to get my slope right, because I still needed a 1/4-inch per foot drop. And I did make sure to code, you have to be under 8 feet to the vent. So I am just under 8 feet. I tied into this existing 2-inch stack here, so that goes up to my vent system. And then next up I worked on my toilet drain. So here we've got a 4-inch toilet drain flange, and then we've got a 4x3 closet bend under here, and then a short section of 3-inch pipe that goes to my 3-inch sanitary tee right there. So that tied into the 3-inch that they provided me for this bathroom specifically, so it was just capped, so there was nothing else. And then I went up and tied it back into my existing vent system, which they also had something capped off right up here. So that lined up really nice. Then next I worked on my sink drains. So pretty straightforward, but kind of a lot going on with the venting. So I did roughly figure out what vanity I was going to use so that I could get my spacing correct between them and off the wall here. So I did a full 2-inch system here just to make sure it was plenty big, and I tied in the vents. So it's a vertical vent off both of the sinks, and then ties back into my vent system with a reverse sanitary tee here. And then I did make sure I used basically a long sweep tee here, and then a long sweep 90 over here. So it's best to use something like that when you have a system like this, so you don't have any type of weird siphoning thing that could happen with the one drain going past the other. And so it was full 2-inch, and then I did just adapt it down to 1.5 right here where it comes through the wall. So then those drains I have sloping down, and I decided to go into the 3-inch stack just so it drained a little bit better and should help the toilet drain as it goes down vertically. So I have basically a 3-inch by 2-inch sanitary tee, then with a 90 just going right into that. And then next up I could work on all my feed lines. So I tapped in down below in the garage. I did end up putting some ball valves down there so I could shut this system off. I did pressurize it once, but then I wanted to drain it down so there's not water sitting in these lines up here because it's not insulated yet. And then I did leave that as an access door in the garage so I can turn on and off as needed. So those lines come up right back here. You can't really see, but basically goes down through the floor in this wall that separates the garage and the living space. I came up with 3/4-inch lines, and then basically all of my accessories that came off that were 1/2-inch. So I've got the 1/2-inch lines coming over here to the first shower valve, which is just on the other side of this 2x4. You can't see it now because I got the walls in. But then I've got the 1/2-inch going up to the shower head. So you can see that here. So this is just the valve body. And then same thing over here. You can't see it because I covered it up. But yeah, basically just have these 3/4-inch lines running across. And then I got a 3/4 by 1/2-inch tee so that I bring up 1/2-inch line feeding to the valve. And then over here as well. So we've got the double shower heads. And I have those right about 7 feet. I hate when those are too low, so I like them at 7 feet. And then I continued on with the 3/4-inch lines. And then right here I pulled off a 1/2-inch line for the toilet feed. I did a copper stub out, a little bit nicer. And then continued with the 3/4-inch lines. And then here for this sink, I have basically a 3/4 by 1/2 by 1/2. So you can see it's larger, and then 2 half lines. So that way I've got the 1/2-inch feeds for my first sink, and then I go on, and then the final step of the journey is 1/2-inch feeds for the second sink. So that was all pretty straightforward. I wanted to maintain that 3/4 inch as long as possible so that to make sure I have enough pressure, especially when you're running both sinks at the same time, or if you have both shower heads going at the same time. So all in all, not too bad. The drain lines were the hardest part because, like I said, they have very fixed locations and you've got to make sure you have your slope right. So that is the plumbing. So next up, we're going to be working on electrical.